In this video, we're talking about the worst grading mistake that I have ever seen on getting comic books graded. There's some very valuable lessons in this video that I know a lot of people can save some valuable hard-earned lessons by just watching this video. And I myself made the same mistake that this guy made when I first got started with comics, and I was saved by a special set of circumstances. And we'll talk about all of that at the end. Make sure you watch the whole video because there's two special giveaways in this video in addition to our monthly giveaways, and I'm gonna put in the code throughout the video, so make sure you watch the whole thing. And I also wanna end with a crazy story of this person that reached out to me on Instagram that is both hilarious and concerning and definitely worth sticking around for to hear this conversation that went down on Instagram. But before we hop too far into it, I want to remind you that we are almost 80% sold out of the Bride Box of Mystery at the time of filming this. Your chance at some amazing grails like Amazing Fantasy 15, Hulk #1, X-Men 1, Fantastic Four 1, and so many more grand prizes. Even if you don't win a grand prize, you're guaranteed 2 epic collectibles. All the details are available now over at brycecomics.com. So the way this went down is somebody reached out and said, I'd like to sell my collection. And I said, can you send me the list? They sent me the list, and it was about 287 PGX graded books. But not only were they PGX graded books, which I have gone on record to say that I won't sell through my shop because of all of the mistrust with the company, the fact that they miss restoration so often. It's just very difficult to deal with PGX books, so I've made a stance that I'm just not gonna sell them when they come through my shop. In addition to them being PGX, the books weren't worth getting graded in the first place. And I have another video called Which Books Are Worth Getting Graded here on this channel that you can go and look at that breaks down all the detail of all the steps and thought process that you should go through before you actually get a book graded. You can go watch that video for all of those details. And we'll talk about the 2 main offenders for this book. But I want to start out by saying that, none of us are above doing this. In fact, I myself did the same thing. If you're an ambitious person when you're first getting started in flipping, it's very well possible that you could make the same mistake. So I'm not making this video to pile on this guy or talk about how stupid this person was for doing this. This is a video to try to save somebody from making the same mistakes. And the twist at the end is what makes it so cool that I really don't think you're gonna guess what the twist is for this mistake. So let's hop into the computer and take a look at this collection and go over some examples of what all was in this collection. All right, so here we are. This is a PDF from the Comics Price Guide that he had these books cataloged in. And as you can see, there's 287 issues in this box. And then there's one other box here that had 17 issues. So if we were to add those together, we come over here that there was 287 total copies, total graded books. Going back to this, just to give you guys a quick idea here, Action Comics $5.98 and a PGX 9.2. Comics Price Guide has it valued at $20. Action Comics 600 in an 8.5. Comics Price Guide has it valued at $10. If we scroll down some more, you'll see some Amazing Spider-Man that, nothing worth more than, this one says $54, number 400. Really, needless to say, without going through every single book, the vast majority of these, except for like 2 books, weren't worth getting graded. Here you can see Iron Man, some later issues that are all in the 8.0, 7.5, 9.0 range. Nothing getting over the $20 value. And I'm not sure if this Comics Price Guide value is for the raw book or the graded book, but to be honest, a PGX 7.5 non-key issue $3 book is, I think you'd be lucky to find somebody to take it off your hands for $11. So this is the list. I'm not going to go through every single thing, but there is some stuff in here that's definitely, desirable, that is worth having in a raw book. I think that these books, should be read. They should be enjoyed. These Thor from Volume 1, 300 through 500. While they're not worth getting graded, they are still cool comic books. Like these Uncanny X-Men's 154, 188, 200s. This is the one book that I think is worth getting graded in the whole lot, is the first appearance of Gambit, 266 and an 8.5. All of these Uncanny X-Men books, you know, people would go nuts for to get these for free. To be able to have these books for free is, they're absolutely, you know, worth cracking out and enjoying. So as you can see there, guys, very, very few of those books were actually worth getting graded. I think there was only that one book, The First Gambit, that's actually worth it. And I think the two main mistakes that this person made, mistake number one was condition, right? If you're gonna get your books graded, you need to have a general idea of what the condition of that book is so that you can see what the value of that book would be if it were to receive a certain grade, and make your decision before you submit it. It's very dangerous to submit books if you know nothing about grading. So that was the first mistake, is that most of these books were in low enough grade to where it didn't make sense for them to get graded. But the second mistake was that they weren't worth getting graded even in high grade. The flawed thinking here was that any book is worth getting graded, that any book is more valuable in a slab. It's not the case. In most cases, because of the sheer volume of books that there are out there, most books aren't worth getting graded because you won't be able to sell them for the cost of grading. And so if we put up on the screen, there was about 287 books in this collection. Let's just say it was $20 per book to have them graded. I think that's a good estimate if you factor in shipping. Say this was done 10 years ago through PGX. PGX a little bit cheaper, but you have shipping both ways. I think $20 is, you know, a safe number to say what this person paid per book, and there's 287. That comes out to over $5,000 just in the grading fees. And I think, you know, if you were to sell this lot, I think, you know, maybe you could sell them for like $1,000, $1,500, and you factor in all of your time. So there's a lot of money lost in this. So I reached back out to the guy and I said, you know, can I get some more information? Like what happened here? How come you got these books graded? You know, I can see that, you know, a lot of them are very low value. Were you thinking that just any book is worth getting graded, or be easier to sell if it was graded? And he responded and he said, yes, that was the thought process. It was early on in my selling days. You know, I was selling on eBay, and I thought, I made the mistake that if I just got all of my books graded, that they would fetch more money and they'd be easier to sell. He realized that that was a mistake. And this is a very, you know, pleasant conversation. For one, because my heart goes out to him, because I've made the same mistake and I was saved by a set of circumstances, which I'll get to here in just a second. So I reached back out and I said, you know, there really just isn't a price that I would want to take these books at, because I started to play the tape through, you know, like, what price would I want these books for? You know, if I could sell the whole lot, and then I remembered, well, I don't even sell PGX books. Could I give them away? No, there's too many. And I realized, I just came to the conclusion that there is no price that I would want this collection for. And so I reached out and I told him as much. I said, you know, I'm going to have to pass on this. I might recommend that, you know, you just list them all in one lot on eBay, all 287 books, all 287 slabs, no reserve, $1 start, and just be done with it. I mean, the other option is you can list them all individually, have 287 listings on eBay, but you know, there's so much time involved in that. You could do 25 book lots and just do a 25 book chunk at a time, but that's also like 12 listings. So why not just cut your losses and be done with it and list it all in one fell swoop? And he said, thank you for the suggestions. You know, I'm going to give this some thought and think about what I want to do. I really appreciate your time. To my surprise, he reaches back out like a week later and tells me that he's decided he's going to cut his losses and give all the books away. All of them. He's just going to cut his losses and give them away. And I thought, that is the most amazing, generous, awesome way to end this story. You know, you realize you made a mistake. You realize it's going to be a crap ton of work to sell these books. And you just want to cut your losses, get some good vibes, some good mojo coming back your way, and just give all the books away. So I said, I think that's a fantastic idea. How generous of you. I'd like to help you give them away. You can send me as many of them as you want, all of them if you want. I'll pay for the shipping to me. I'll pay for the shipping to give them away. I won't make a penny off of it. In fact, I'm going to lose money on all of the shipping, but I'm willing to do it because my heart goes out to you. I think it's so generous, and I think it's a great way to wrap up this whole big mistake, is just give it back to the community. He said, great, I'll be in touch. So leave a comment down below with the words PGX giveaway. Okay, I'll put it up on the screen, type it in just like that, PGX giveaway. This will be a special giveaway. I'll draw a winner from the comments. I'm able to filter by comment. And so if you said that, you'll get entered to win some of these books. And we'll probably split it up depending on how many he sends. I'm still waiting to actually get these books back from him. So, you know, we'll see if I even get them. But if we do, this will be the first chance to get in on some free books. So type in PGX giveaway. So he reached back out and said, you know, I'm thinking about getting these packed up and we're going to waste a lot of money on shipping because of the weight of the slabs. These books didn't deserve to be slabbed anyways. How about I just crack them all out of the cases and send them to you in the plastic sleeves? And I said, I think that's a great idea. Those plastic sleeves will keep the books safe. They need to be cracked out anyways. These are books that should be enjoyed and read and kept raw in the first place, you know, with that one exception. So that's where we left it, is he's going to send me the books. I have yet to actually get to the point where I send him the shipping label. I'm hoping that that all happens very soon. So now I want to talk about how I almost made the exact same mistake and how it's actually a common thought process in this hobby, is that any book is worth getting graded. But before we do that, I need to announce the winners for some giveaways here. We had to redraw the winner from July because the July winner of the YouTube giveaway never claimed their prize. So congratulations to Danger SSR. Danger SSR, you won the July giveaway for the Bryce Comics YouTube giveaway. And congratulations to Jay Heggie. Jay Heggie, you won the August YouTube giveaway. We also have a new giveaway up this month. If you subscribe, comment, and like, you're entered to win September's giveaway. And congratulations to Joshua Pleasure. Joshua, you won the newsletter giveaway for BryceComics.com for August. All right, so here's the story of how I almost made the exact same mistake when I first started with comics. Right before I decided to sell comics full time, I was at a comic book shop, I was digging through boxes, and I found about 150 newsstand edition modern comics, a whole short box of them. I spent all day at this comic shop because it was like a little gold mine of finding these newsstand editions that were really rare. And I decided, this was before I knew anything about grading books. I knew how to buy and sell CGC books. I knew what CGC was, but I didn't know how to actually grade the books. I couldn't tell the difference between an 8.0 and a 9.8 unless it was graded and it said so on the slab. So I thought, in my infinite wisdom, I would take all of these books and send them off to a presser to have them pressed, cleaned, and sent to CGC. Because in my mind, I thought that pressing would magically make them all 9.8s and I was going to make all this money, right? I mean, I made all the mistakes. This would have been my very first CGC submission. And to my saving grace was that the presser I sent them to had a tremendous backlog. 4 months went by before they even got to my books. They didn't even start pressing my books yet. And I, in that 4 months' time, learned all about comics and grading and how to grade comics. And I realized one night, I woke up in the middle of the night, I go, oh no, I made a huge mistake. Those 150 books that I sent off to get pressed and cleaned and graded were trash. I mean, probably 90% of them weren't worth getting graded. And I was going to sink all of this money into pressing 150 books. That would have been like $2,000. And the grading, which would have been thousands of dollars. And that was all of my seed money for Bryce Comics. I started Bryce Comics with $10,000 in seed money. And that would have been a huge chunk of it. And it would have been lost. Because I would have got these books back from CGC and they would have been unsellable. They would have been 6.0 newsstand modern non-key issue, 7.0 newsstand modern non-key issue, and I would have lost my ass. And we may not be sitting here talking today if that happened, because that would have been almost all of my seed money and I may have never got off the ground. Lucky for me, they hadn't started pressing my books yet because of their backlog. I contacted them and said, please cancel my order. I'll pay for the return shipping. And they sent the books back. I ended up not grading a single one of them and saved myself from a complete disaster. The reason I bring this up is that I wanted to highlight, one, the guy that did this with PGX is in good company, right? I mean, I know that him and I are not the only ones to have thought this. And two is that, yeah, just so that people can understand, that is not the way to go. It is not worth grading every single book. You do need to know how to assign grades to books, at least somewhat, and you do need to know how to go through the thought process of what's worth getting graded. Another person that had the same thought process that I want to show you is this little conversation I had with this guy here on Instagram that's absolutely hilarious and mind-boggling. But before we do that, I have another special giveaway here. This is a blind unboxing, a whole short box here of books from Comictom. I was in Comictom's Whatnot show and I said, hey, can you put something in the Buy It Now, a Bri pack for $85. I want to do it as a giveaway on my channel, just as something fun. Totally blind, I have no idea what's in there. And this is all up for grabs for free. This is the only chance you have to enter is to leave a comment down below that says, thank you, Comictom. I'll put it up on the screen. Type thank you, Comictom, and you're entered to win this. So we have a limited edition art print. This is numbered 1750 out of 2100. We have Batman Beyond, the Gabriel Del Otto exclusive from Comictom. We have The Boys #1. I believe that's a Zoe Lachey edition of that. We have what I believe is Raph Grassetti on Berserker. Super, super sick Berserker cover. We have Batman Night Terrors #1, the exclusive foil edition. Beautiful cover there. Another foil edition here of Something is Killing the Children. This is a David Mack foil cover featuring Cutter. Super, super glossy, shiny goodness. We have Bat Poo one-shot homaging Batman 666. We have a Virgin Amazing Spider-Man exclusive. And we have Invincible #1 by John Boy Myers. All of this heat right here could be yours for free if you just type in the comments, thank you, Comictom. And make sure to check out Whatnot if you're into cool collectibles like comic books or anything. They've got so many awesome categories and stuff if you're into shopping. It's truly an online experience. You should at least give it a try. If it's not for you, that's understandable, but it is a lot of fun. All right, so I want to show this conversation. If you've made it this far into the video, I consider us friends. You're probably a supporter of the channel, and I apologize this video is going on so long, but this ties in directly because the same day that this guy reached out about the PGX graded collection, this guy reaches out to me on Instagram. I can't make this stuff up, you guys. This happened the same day. This guy, Abu Nasir, who I don't know at all, reaches out to me, says, hi, can I make a deal with you? I need 3 box for comics for this in 50 cents. 4 comic 1 box. I want to send it to CGC. How much cost for total? If you have already something fresh, just come back from CGC. We be perfect. Thanks. And I said, I don't understand. I tried, I read it, I tried to understand, and I was just like, listen, I don't understand. And he said, okay, I need 3 whole box for the 50 cents comics book. How much cost? And how many in the comic in the box? 1 boxes from your choice. I need to send it to CGC. Do you recommend to doing that? Send the 50 cents to CGC? Sent. I'm sorry. 3 boxes from comic book cost 50 cents. And I just started laughing and I said, bro, I have no idea what you're trying to say. Why don't you use Google Translate? Because you can go and just translate from your native language, type it into Google Translate, and it'll spit it out perfectly in English and like communicate better. Like, why, if you have such poor English, why wouldn't you like just have this on hand? So he sends a voice memo, to my surprise. We're gonna play the voice memo here.
Jesus, bro. Astaghfirullah, ya Muhammad. So the whole idea, my brother, I wanted to say I need three whole box from comic box and 50 cents. You know, how much cost in that? Excuse my language is so bad, my brother. And 1 box, I need to send it to CGC, my brother. You know, how much the total of this? Thanks.
How much the totaling of this? Thanks. I mean, this has like scammer vibes on it, like that the maniacal laughing, like what? And so he said the same thing that he was texting. I have no idea what he's trying to say. He says, yo, my man, you got my, well, let me play the second one.
If you don't understand this, I want to die, my brother. Sorry. This is my best.
If you don't understand, this is my best. And I said, bro, I tried to understand and I just don't. Like, if that's your best, I just don't. And he goes, okay, I want to translate to make sure to understand. Hello, my friend. You are the owner of a comic shop. We want you to have 3 boxes of comics that cost 50 cents a book and 1 box of your choice. What? We want you to send it to the CGC. And so I said, are you asking if I will submit books on your behalf? Why would you want to grade books at 50 cents? So I think what he's asking is he wants to buy bulk books that are worth about 50 cents each, and he wants to get them graded by CGC. Exactly what we're talking about in this video, having books that shouldn't be graded. And he says, because you have experience in this field, do you recommend sending one of these boxes to CGC, and how much does it cost? I do not want to spend a lot of money on expensive books because the community mostly did not see this idea. Oh, this guy is way smarter than the rest of the comic community. So we want something cheap to get an idea about comics and follow the prices. Do you get the idea? And at this point, I think I do get the idea. He wants to capitalize on what he thinks is a opportunity in the community, which is to offer books that are undesirable and aren't worth getting graded to the community. And I said, that's a terrible idea. They won't be worth the cost of grading. And he says, well, let me explain my logic here. I will take it from you for 50 cents and I will sell the book for $3. Maybe the books from the CGC are $50. That's where you're wrong. And this is the mind frame that is you need to just not have. And I want to point out is that no, you can't take ungradable books and grade them and then they're worth $50. It does not work like that. He says, if we find a demand from the community, we enter the field because most people think that the books from the CGC are a trick of hardcover cats and there are no comics inside them. Then he says, well, if these books do not deserve classification, how much do 3 boxes of what we talked about cost? At this point, we haven't actually talked about anything. Like, you have said some things, I have misunderstood those things, but there has been no like communication at all up until this point. And he says, look how you spent in Funko Pop or Rito game. My community looked to him just like toys. And I said, I have to end this conversation because of so much miscommunication. I have no idea what you're talking about. Best of luck. To which he says, F you. And I bust up laughing because I just spent a good chunk of time. I mean, this was back and forth for quite a while here, trying to help a complete stranger that I knew from the get-go I wasn't going to get anything out of this. This was just a time suck. And trying to explain to him and save him from a mistake, and he responds with F you. What I find so ironic about this is that, at one point in his message here, he said something about Allah, right? And he said something about hamdulillah, something about Allah. And I just think that, in the same breath that he's praising Allah, he's saying F you to a complete stranger who spent their time for free trying to help them. And the irony, this is way off subject here, of somebody who apparently has a religious life, or at least has a belief in God, is representing their God with this kind of behavior. It blows my mind how people can claim to represent God and directly disassociate their business dealings and their behavior with their belief. A case in point, and the only reason I bring up this tangent is that the scammer that recently reached out, I just did a video on the scam. Quick little update on the scam. A subscriber reached out that deals with fraud and investigations, and he helped me look up the individual and the ID, and we were able to 100% confirm that was an absolute scam, fake ID and everything, which we already knew. But if you look in the scammer's video, the scammer's photo, the photo that he sent of himself, in the background, there is some self-help books on the shelf. And the only book that I can make out says Harnessing Your Inner Buddha. So by day, this scammer scams honest, hardworking people out of their money. And by night, he's harnessing his inner Buddha. And this guy is praising Allah in one sentence and then saying F you to complete strangers in another. It just blows my mind. It's a complete tangent. If you stuck with me this far in the video, you're a true friend. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Don't forget to put those 2 extra entries into the giveaways in the comment section. Don't forget, we're over 80% sold out of that new Bri Box of Mystery over at brycecomics.com. We have the 2 giveaways going on. Follow me on Whatnot, link down in the description for $15 towards your first purchase. Thank you so much once again, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye. In this video, we're talking about the worst grading mistake. Don't do that with your hand. Don't do that with your hand. How about this? Do this, 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 this. What do you do with your hands? Do you sit on your hands? No, don't sit on your hands. Here, and I want to, start out by putting out there that we shouldn't jump on. Cut that whole part out. We're just gonna start from the top and do it again. In this video, we're talking about